work together and not tangle each other up.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder, though, if those three Hondas will work together to try and pull the Kawasaki back, because he just seems to be on a mission at the moment. He's just done another 207.2, a second a lap quicker than the gaggle behind them. Real pace.
That is terrific pace. It does breed some very, very quick, tough riders, and Arrc Yoshi seems to be very much from that genre.
Just to put that laptop. Sire at the moment is in fourth. You don't want to finish there. You want to get on the podium as a minimum. So there's going to be a lot of battles going on as we head into 2 laps to go. Won't be long, we'll be on the last lap. And it looks like Akiyoshi at the moment has got things under control. But you never can tell when that lady, Miklada Sarapuch, is behind you.
Exactly right. And just looking at this battle for P2 at the moment, don't underestimate the expectation that exists in the Astra Honda garage. They're currently fighting for 3rd position. That's not what they're used to at all. As you said, Steve, last year they had a podium lockout. They had a front row lockout in qualifying too.
Absolutely, and they certainly wouldn't be used to being second in the Manufacturers' Championship, but the Teams' Championship, which they are at the moment. So they sit on 50 points behind the Kawasaki team on 65 points. So Astra Honda with some definite work to do. And Miklada takes the dirt big time. She didn't need that as they head into the last lap. There's Fujiwara shaking his fist. One of his riders is out. Miklada still maintains that 2nd spot, but it's Akiyoshi out front as they head into the last lap now. And not much Miklada can do from there. She has to defend 2nd. That's not going to be easy. Akiyoshi, it's his race to lose at the moment.
Yeah, Tachikon had a look behind him as they went into that last turn.
Can just have a look now, way wide there, gets out in the dirt, sprays it off the back wheel, and just doesn't even seem to lose any pace at all.
Did it?
Maybe there's more grip out there than on the track, I don't know, but an absolute incredible ride by Miklada. She is not backing off on that throttle. She's managed to pull out a little bit of a gap now, but this is not for the win. She will not be smiling when she gets off this motorcycle, because Akiyoshi out front is leading now by 1.4 seconds. I can't see it happening, but you can never say never in this 250 racing.
Yeah, it's definitely his to lose. Mukada's really got her head down. She's not troubled now by Tachikon and Lucky Hendriantia behind her. Lucky's going to be pushing for the podium. That's the minimum expectation back in the Astra Honda garage.
Geez, I tell you what, though, keep an eye on Miklada. She's closed down that gap. It really is an impressive ride by her. But with a 1/3 of a lap to go, I think it's going to be Akiyoshi. It's his race to lose. There's 0.4 of a second back gap now, back down to Tachikon.
You can see why Mukada's got so many fans around Asia and now beyond, because she has got this this gritty attitude. She doesn't give up until she crosses the line.
Yeah, how can you not be a fan? I'm a fan already.
Absolutely.
As they head down now into turn 17 for the final time, it's the number 37, Akiyoshi, who's about to take his first win here in the AP 250 race. Race 2 at Tailem Bend. He's out of trouble now, just the final bend to go as they head into the final corner. It's McLeod. Can she keep it together to take second? She manages to stay on track this time, but it is the number 37 machine. It's Akiyoshi who takes the win on the Manual Tech KYT racing machine, with Muklada Sarapech in second position, Tachikor Busarai in third, and Lucky Hendrisaya gets that fourth position, and unfortunately for him, misses out on the podium. What an incredible race, Barry.
Yeah, brilliant race. A lot more riders in the mix this time than there was yesterday, and they treated us to a really good race. Tachikor, that's his first podium finish, so that's an AP Honda 2 and 3. They've got 2 bikes on the podium. They're going to be really happy with that. But Akiyoshi, the rookie from Japan, he's got his first victory in this series, so that's cheered up Katsuaki Fujiwara, who saw his, let's say, his main man, the championship leader, Andy Fadley, go out at the very start of the race.
And if I believe, if my addition is correct, that will put Akiyoshi into the lead of the championship as well. So Akiyoshi has had a pretty impressive weekend down under here in Australia. So Akiyoshi with 68 points now leads Andy Fadley, who didn't get any points this time out on 65. So a brilliant result for Akiyoshi. And boy, he's certainly starting to... if you don't know who Akiyoshi is in your race in this class, you'll know pretty soon.
Definitely true. So there's, brave smile there from Andy Fadley.
Well, Andy Fadley knows that he missed out on the golden opportunity to extend his championship, but I guess that he can take away the fact that he knows that the bike is very, very competitive, and he's in one of the best teams in the paddock now.
Yeah, and McLeod wasn't able to grab the 25 points.
Absolutely, that's a big bonus as well, because she is a real threat for the championship here.
And looking at the Astra Honda, what they achieved in that race, the best of them was Lucky Henry Ancia, number 12, who finished 4th. Ray Ratakori, as we've been saying, the best of the Yamaha riders as the results come up now.
Let's have a look at Akiyoshi, who takes the win from Muklada Sarapech in second position. Tachikor Busarai in third. It's Lucky Hendrisaya in fourth. Ray Ratakori in fifth. Fan Aransaya in sixth. Owen Sanjay, we didn't talk about him too much. He was off the back a bit. And Nazarul, good result for him in eighth position on the 1XOX TKR Sayag team machine. Piwat in ninth. Bukir in 10th, Mohammed Ferozi in 11th, Seti Rajiv, we saw him on the grid, 12th, that's another good result for him. Khao Vietnam in 13th, Sutipat in 14th, Khao Kinlung in 15th, and Angie Setawan was in 16th position on his Yamaha Racing Indonesia team. 17th, Salapol Nilapong, 18th, Sharol, 19th, Kevin Johnson, followed by Stuart Johnson. They're always together in the BRP racing team back there, aren't they? Sharul was in 21st. Andy Fadley didn't finish, as did Lujin Mai and Senthil Chandarin. So it was a pretty exciting race, Barry.
Yeah, a great race. We always see great races in this AP 250 Championship. These bikes are bred for racing. It says Asia production, but there are extensive modifications you can do to the engines and to the suspension. And of course, we've got the control ECU now that evens things out.
There's a dream. And Spurs strike again.
Get in on the action.
The most important is to believe.
Exclusives and more.
A statement victory from Tottenham Hotspur.
With Spurs TV on Fox Sports.
Survivors write the history that suits them. One day, it will be you who writes my story. You are Comanche.
You see your father for what he really is.
Their blood is on your hands as much as it is on mine.
No! It's time to put a bullet between our eyes.
In the end, it will all be worth it.
The field is just getting ready to depart. The stands are coming out the back now. We'll have a warm-up lap in a minute. Who do you think's going to win this one?
I'm going to go for Starring again.
Starring again.
Yeah, I think I'm not convinced that the Yamaha's tyre wearing issues are resolved. I've seen Kawasaki's in other championships do very well on tyre wear, and I think that could be the difference. I think Zakwan's going to come out to redeem himself after making a mistake yesterday. I think Yuki Ito is going to be up there too.
Yeah, I think.
I mentioned Brock Parks, but he will definitely be there.
Yeah, well, so pretty
sure
much.
How he'll do during the race.
So you haven't really helped me out. You've pretty much said that the whole field will be up the front.
It's going to be a great race.
It is going to be a great race. I'm really looking forward as they head off on the warm-up lap of this 12-lap race. It's going to be an absolute cracker. And I'll tell you now, I'm really looking forward to getting this underway. But let's have a look at the starting grid. It's Brock Parks who starts from pole position, with Brian Starring on the Kawasaki Thailand Racing Team ZX10RR in second position. Apiwath in third. Second row is Ito. Keep an eye on him off the line. He should get a better start this time. Zakwan Zaidi in fifth, and sixth is Aslan Shah on the BMW S1000RR. As we move on to row three, it's Ahmed Yudhisthira. He's always good and fast when he wants to be. Rathbone Willarot, who should have a better race this time out. Chai Witchett, teammate to Brian Starring this weekend. 10th is TJ Alberto on the Ducati. Stephanie Redman, of course, who had that injury yesterday, takes her spot in the grid this time. Kazuma Suda for the Victor Racing Team, who is filling in for Patrick Lee. We wish Patrick Lee the best. Yanni Shaw is on the grid too. Good to see him. Farid Badrul Hashim, number 83, is out there on his BMW. And Jonathan Saripka, the Swissman who comes from Ticino, I might add, rounds out the field. This is going to be an absolute cracker of a race. And I asked you who was going to win. I'm not sure. I reckon this time round that we're going to see someone like Yuki Ito and Zakwan Zaidi hopefully right up the front with those two Australians. We don't want the Australians to win everything, do we?
Well, speaking as a Brit, I would have to agree with that sentiment. It'd be nice to see, it mixed up a bit. And Ito and Zakwan look the most likely men to do it. Yudis, he wants to get in there. I'm not sure if he can. And Aslan Shah is due for another good run.
Yeah, well, I reckon Aslan, on his day, when everything's right, he's so fast, and he's willing to put it on the line. So really looking forward to seeing what he can do out there. Yudhisthira, I just think of how he rode back in Sepang. It was a brilliant ride from him. Rathapong Willarot, well, boy, we know what sort of talent that he's got. When it all comes together for him, he should be really in with a chance. Chai Witchett, he's improving all the time on that Kawasaki, but I think... this man here, Brian Starring, definitely going to be in with a big chance. You can see there the pink stripe. He's got the soft Dunlop on the rear. Keep an eye on that. Some of the guys going with mediums, but just all taking their places on the grid now. Brock Parks takes his spot on pole position. Apiwath on the right-hand side. Two Yamahas on the front row. Zakwan Zaidi lines up.
Apiwath mixed it up in the early stages of the race last time. They come under starters orders.
12 laps around this circuit as the marshals head off the track. The lights will be coming on shortly. They're under starters on their way. Brock just jumped a little off the start, but it's still a good start for him. But look at the Kawasaki blast away. A much better start for Brian Starring this time. He is absolutely hammering down into turn one. Watch on the inside though. Number 21, Zakwan Zaidi. He's made a good start too. Number 24, Apiwath is there too. He's a good starter. Is that Yuki Ito up there too?
Yep, that's Yuki Ito. He's in fourth or fifth. He's just running there with Brock Parks. Yeah,
it's a much better start for Brock Parks this time round. And Aslan Shah already had a bit of a bubble on the back of his BMW. Oh, we've got a fall of that's 77. TJ Alberto is out. That's an end to his day. We've got another rider down there too. Not sure who that rider is. Is that Stephanie Redman? I don't want to say it is at this point in time, but just have to wait and see as we get further. I think it is TJ who's gone down, and could be Kazuma Tsuda who's gone down as well. So those two guys look like they've had it coming together. But meanwhile, back out front is Brian Starring, who leads with number 24, Apiwath, right behind him at the moment. Brian Just taking his time off the start. Applewhath right on the back wheel with the number 23, Brock Parks, playing catch-up.
Yep, so you've got a bit more of a mix there at the front, and Applewhath went very strongly in the early stages yesterday and then faded as tyres had some effect, he told me.
Now, did you say that Applewhath has got, no, he's got a soft rear tyre as well. Brian already just had a slide there, so he's not hanging around. He looks ultra smooth, but he's certainly trying to give it everything he's got.
Yeah, the Yamaha Thailand team, of course, for whom Applewhath is riding, they've been playing with the electronics to work on this tyre wear thing, so he'll be hoping that he's got more longevity towards the front of the field in this race. So we've got Kawasaki, Yamaha, and behind them Zakwan Zaidi, Honda.
And Yuki Ito just behind them. You can see him there. And we know what he's like towards the end of a race. Aslan Shah's up there too. Aslan Shah's right there. There's just cleaning that debris off the track from the crash that they had earlier on at the start on the first lap into turn one. So hopefully the marshals can move all that out of the way. But the riders are up and out of the way, which is the main thing.
Yep, and Ratapong Willerut, number 56, he's having a better go this time. This is his first season on litre bikes, and a lot to get used to for him, particularly the electronics, I understand, from his team.
Yeah, it's good to see him up there. Surely, being this close to the front at this stage, he can learn from the guys in front of him.
Yeah, and there's some lessons learned here from yesterday, because this is a closer race now as we go back to the start.
You can just see there a great start by Brian Starring. His bike just starts to take off by halfway down. That new Kawasaki ZX10 RR machine really has got a lot of grunt with its titanium rods this time round compared to the steel rods of the old model. Yeah,
and a great start from the outside also by Applewhath Mongtananon, who also knows how to get a big bike off the line.
Yeah, Brian Starring is certainly not running away with it at this point in time. He's looks like he's just settling himself in. It's going to be interesting to keep an eye on the pace. A 58.7 for our leader at the moment, with a 58.8 from Applewhath. So going to be really interesting to see what happens when they start to build into this race.
Yeah, this is fascinating looking at these front three, because you've got these two very mature professional riders. And in the middle of the sandwich there is Applewhath, who's a young, feisty Thai rider.
Looks like Yuki Ito's made his way past Zakwan Zaidi as well, so he wants to join the fray up the front and join his teammate. Yellow flags are still out, cannot pass there. Yellow flags are out. That could be a bit of a problem for Aslan Shah. We have to keep an eye on that because he's just passed under a yellow flag, in my opinion. So we'll have to see what the marshals say if they pick that up.
Yeah, let's watch the ticker on the middle of the screen there. See if that was picked up.
What they need to do is they need to try and get that bike out, because they can't have that yellow flag there for the whole race, because that is one of the major overtaking opportunities on this circuit. It'd be very hard to see it 300 kilometres an hour as you're whipping past. I'm pretty sure he didn't see that flag because he was on the outside. So let's hope that they let that one go.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see Aslan in fourth place now, being chased hard by Yuki Ito and Zakwan, so there's another three-way battle.
Yeah, those guys have spent a lot of time on track together in various classes over the years.
Yeah,
jumping up from the 600s into the 1,000 class this year. It's been a pretty successful class, this ASB 1000, hasn't it, so far?
Yeah, it has, and I'm just looking at the back of that second group. Ratapong's still hanging in there, so that's good for him.
It's great. He's going a lot better than he went yesterday. Yuki Ito has just done the fastest lap of the race so far, a 1:54.5. So that's bodes well for him. Just dragging that group behind him back up to the leading group.
Yeah, the gap to the second group is what, about a second?
Yeah, it's about a second at the moment. So the battling and that toing and throwing in this second group, though, they need to work together. Otherwise, the leading guys, Brian Starring, Applewhath and Brock Parks, will make their way away. There's Tamada. Do you think he's happy with the way his rider Zakwan Zaidi is performing out on track at the moment?
Not sure. How can you tell?
He doesn't smile a lot, does he?
No, I've seen it occasionally. Zachman's doing a good job so far. The race is sort of settled at the moment. I'm sure it's not going to finish like this. There will be some developments as the tyre wear takes hold.
Well, we'll keep an eye on Brian Starring, who's just almost on the equal fastest lap of the race at 54.2 last time round. There's still a long way to go. I know that Starring is a very smart character. He will be looking after that rear tyre as much as he can, and then with about 3 or 4 laps to go, he's going to open the taps. But Brock's a quick learner. He will also be looking after his tyre. I'm absolutely sure of that. He won't want to take the lead at the moment. Applewhack, I don't know. You've seen him ride a lot. What's your opinion on him?
I think he's learned a bit. He's one of the guys that spent a few years in the VR Master Camp at Valentino Rossi's training school. He's learned a few things. He used to be very feisty, very unpredictable, and as a former race official, I used to see him plenty in race control. But he's a different man these days. I'm not sure what's going on with him now because we haven't seen too much of him on this Lita bike. But he's looking comfortable now. I think Brock Parks is taking a look at him.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess if I was Brock at the moment, they're out there at the moment, though, I'd be thinking about looking after that rear tyre and just staying where I can as close to Brian Starring as possible, because Brock knows how torturous this track is on the tyres. He burnt his rear tyre out yesterday. Brian Starring rode away from him. He'll be hoping to conserve. It's a lot easier to conserve the rear tyre when you're following than it is when you're leading.
Yeah, and all the ASB 1000 riders, the Yamaha riders that I've spoken to, have been talking about tyre wear as the main topic. So Parks has just gone through on Applewhack.
Well, Brock Parks has just gone through, as you say. Good to see. He knows who the main protagonist is. It'll be interesting to see what Applewhack thinks about that. Do you think he's the type of guy that's going to strike back straight away?
If he can, he will. Yeah, that's definitely in his nature. You do see him riding a lot more maturely these days, but when the pressure comes on, you see him revert to his natural state, which is pretty combative.
Yeah, absolutely. Just falling off the pace a little bit now, though, is Applewhack. Unfortunately for him, looks like that gap's opening up. Completely different lines there for Brock Parks and Brian Starring through the long right-handed 7, 8, 9 and 10 on this tail and bend circuit to the Motorsport Complex.
Yeah, Yuki Ito 1 second behind them. Be good to see if he can do anything about that gap, because he's got himself free from Aslan, Ratapong and Zachman, who's now dropped to the back of that group.
Yeah, Zachman, whatever happened yesterday, the mistake he made, I don't know if they'd made any bike setting changes or not, but he doesn't seem to be as competitive as he was yesterday.
Doesn't, does he? The lap times are low. I guess it's colder now than they were yesterday.
Yeah, 54.1 for Brian Starring last time round, 54.1 for Brock Parks as well. So they're starting to just squeeze the taps a little bit now. Brian Starring slowly putting on the pressure, but Brock Parks is responding beautifully.
Yes,
in the slipstream.
Yeah, after that dropping off now. He may well fall into Yuki Ito's clutches.
Well, Yuki Ito, of course, he finished on the podium yesterday, and yeah, he's right there now, hasn't he? He's right on the back wheel. Yuki Ito in with a good chance to catch up with Applewhack.
Yeah, Aslan running in 5th again. He finished 5th yesterday. He'll want to improve on that today. He probably will do. I would guess it's going to be at Applewhack's expense, but let's see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to give it everything he's got.
Gap there, 3/10 now between Applewhack and looking at the screen, if I look on track, Yuki Ito's just gone through into 3rd position. Applewhack has struck back, so he's got himself back into 3rd, but I think it's just a matter of time before the Japanese rider and the sister team, the Yamaha Racing ASEAN team, gets back through into 3rd place.
Once again, the number 24 machine doing a good job.
Yeah, he won't give that place up easily, that's for sure.
No, he certainly won't.
It's letting Aslan get closer as well.
It is a good ride, though, for number 56 as well. Ratapong Willarot, of course, last year, 600 champion. This is the best I've seen him ride. I don't remember him being on track with these guys. Whatever those problems were with the electronics that he was having trouble adapting to, let's hope that he's got that sorted. It is quite tricky to ride these bikes. There's a lot more buttons on them and options than the 600s and the smaller machines.
Yeah,
And if you don't get it right, Barry, it can make the difference between winning and finishing off the pack, and it's finishing off the pack.
well, he's a very straightforward lad, Ratapong. He told me the problem was with him getting used to the electronic.
Well, that's right, yeah, but it's not that easy. You just don't get on and it does it all for you. You've got to put the right settings in. Even while you're riding around on these bikes, they've got different traction control settings that you can adjust while you're riding around. There's wet maps, there's different levels of traction control, and I know a rider like Brian Starring will start off with, as we look at a whole gaggle of riders come into that first turn, a rider like Brian Starring will start off with a soft map to look after the rear tyre, and then when he needs that extra power towards the end of the race, he'll give it all the power, or vice versa. If it's starting to slide around too much, you've got to know what to do at the right time.
Yeah, and that takes a while to figure out.
Certainly does. Zach Zaidi, of course, 0.25 behind the BMW of Aslan Shah Kamaruzaman. And boy, they've had some battles in the past in different classes.
Yeah, a lot of, especially in the 600 class, those two have been battling the last few years. They've each won 2 championships in the 600 class. Ratapong you're talking about, he was the champion last year and he finished second in the 600 race this year.
Well, I would say that Brock is looking pretty good at the moment. He's able to hang right onto the shirt of the number 60 Manual Tech KYT Kawasaki rider Brian Starring, filling in for Ting Note, who's watching back at home. Brock is looking pretty competitive, a lot more competitive than last time out.
Yeah, he is. He was definitely struggling with his tyres by this stage of the race yesterday, and he's looking threatening for the lead now.
Yep, takes a little bit of a wider line there. He's certainly taking wider exit lines than Brian Starring. Interesting to see when they drive onto the start-finish straights if they're both leaving big black rubber marks. Let's have a look here. This is normally a good shot to tell. Not too bad. I've seen some of the other guys leaving big black marks, which means that they're getting a lot of wheel spin. Those two guys at the moment don't seem to be spinning up too much.
Yeah, and Aslan has indeed gone through to 4th place at the expense of Apiwak Wongtananon. So that's the BMW up into 4th position now.
That's good to see. Aslan Shah, he said he wanted to get the podium. That is possibly out of his reach at the moment, but it's a good ride by Aslan Shah to move up into 4th position. Of course, he finished 5th yesterday. He's never ridden around here on anything but a super sport bike before, so he's another guy with a steep learning curve.
Yeah, he raced some super bikes, but on Kawasaki in the Malaysian series, but nothing at this level.
No, he's in the biggest team of the paddock too, isn't he? The XOX team.
Yeah. That team, of course, is hooked up with the SAG team from Spain. Collaboration that helps Asian riders into the European Championships and possibly into the World Championships.
Yeah, well, it's certainly working. They've got some really good riders coming out of that team in the 250 class also here, and I do believe it's one of the biggest teams in the paddock with underbone riders, bikes in all classes, a gaggle of riders. 24 Apiwak is still having a big battle with Zakwan Zaidi back down the field a little bit. Those positions 5th and 6th with Ratapong Willarot just behind them. He's just drifting back a little bit now as Ratapong.
Yeah, both those Yamaha Thailand machines, Apiwak and Ratapong's, slipping back a little bit now.
Zaidi, though, makes a move. Zakwan Zaidi up the inside now. Starts to make his way forward. Good pass there.
Yeah, nicely done. He will know very well. Apiwak's not an easy man to pass, so he judged that well.
It was a pretty decisive move, wasn't it? He had to really just dive up the inside there, do the best job he could to make it stick. He did make it stick, and he's already pulled a couple of bike lengths. He wants to get as many points as he can.
Yeah, you can't play patty cake with Apiwak. He's been around the championship, the Arrc championship, to know that very well.
Well, the other issue he's got is that there's only a couple of points in the championship between him and the man in front of him on track, Aslan Shah. So he sits 3rd in the championship at the moment to Zakwan Zaidi. With Aslan Shah in 4th, Aslan Shah in front on track will pick up a couple of points. So there's that battle going on as well.
Yeah, we've got the two Yamaha Thailand machines, the R1s running in 6th and 7th together now. And they're around 10 seconds ahead of Yudhishthira, who hasn't found anything extra today, it seems. I think that was the position he finished in yesterday.
I'll tell you what we need to keep an eye on, though. Yuki Ito has just set the fastest sector or section of laps in a row. His fastest lap's the fastest lap of the race, 53.6, and he's just gone through at a 53.7. He's half a second a lap at the moment quicker than the two Australians out the front. So keep an eye on this man, Yuki Ito. He's still got time to go with 4 laps to close the two guys down out front. If he can keep that pace up, half a second a lap, he'll be there just in time to attack. Hopefully he's reading his lap board correctly. The team will be telling him, but they'll also be telling Brock that that gap is coming down.
Yeah, and the body language of Yuki Ito, you can see there. He thinks he's got one thing on his mind now, which is catching up to the Yamaha in front of him.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to get on the podium, but you don't want to be second in the team, do you? You want to be able to take the Brock Parks. The gap between those guys now, 0.3 from Brian Starring to Brock Parks, and it's 1.7 from Brian Starring to Yuki Ito. So it's still quite a bit. Lap time-wise, pretty even, though. He didn't make any time that time round. He's got to dig deeper if he wants to have a good go at this podium spot, second or first.
Yeah, a long gap back to Aslan Shah and Zakran Zaidi. They're disputing 4th position. Not sure which way that's going to go.
No, the Honda man looks like he's found something. He mid-race just seemed to drift off a little bit, but looks like he's coming on strong now. Meanwhile, back out front, Brian Starring is doing everything that he can to keep Brock Parks his way. The Magpies, we just saw them watching in the foreground there.
Oh, the Magpies. We saw the Kangaroos yesterday.
But you've got to always keep your eye out when you're watching Australian television. You never know what might pop up. All sorts of different animals lurking out there. A couple of animals on track at the moment, though, with Brock Parks and Brian Starring monstering these super bikes around the circuit here.
Yeah, we're looking at some really good motorcycle riding here from these two Australians at the front.
Well, it's all tactics at the moment. I'm sure Brian's not giving it everything that he can, and I'm sure that Brock isn't either. Brock is in a good position to feel out now where he's faster than Starring. So Starring cannot show everything he's got. You know what I mean? It's a real game of cards at the moment. Brock's gone up the inside. He's made the pass, and beautiful pass. The thing is, he's made it in turn 17. I think that Brian Starring on the Kawasaki has got perhaps a little bit more power down the straight. We will find out. But Parks has made the jump. Keep an eye on the Kawasaki, though. He's in the slipstream. I reckon he's going to come back pretty quickly. And Starring does run straight back past. And that was before the start-finish line, too. So if it comes down to the last lap like that, look at Brock, though. Hard on the brakes. Takes the spot back. With 2 laps to go, Brock has got to try and make a bigger gap than that, otherwise he's not going to win this race.
Yeah, and it looks like it could turn into a scrap between these two now, and that's going to help the man behind them, Parks' teammate Yuki Ito.
Yeah, well, the time for a scrap is now, as with 2 laps to go. We're heading into the last lap after this one. Brock has got to finish thinking about tyre conservation and start thinking about spinning that rear wheel. He's just lost the front. You saw his foot come off the foot peg there. Managed to gather it all up. He is on the absolute limit. Brian Starring will have seen that. That would have given him some confidence as they head down the hill here in the fast right-handers, 7, 8 and 9. But Brock is fast through there. Brian Starring can't close down. That's 2 bike lengths now.
Yeah, they've both pulled the pin now, so it's a question of who can get the laps in fastest, who's got most left on the tyres.
Yeah, absolutely. It is it's a matter of risk now. Who's willing to risk the most as well? Remember, Brock is in with a championship hope here at the moment. Brian Starring is just out for instant glory, I guess, with race wins. Not really going to compete in the whole championship, but hey, who knows? Maybe that'll change.
Yeah, there's definitely a bit of team spirit being displayed between Starring and the Kawasaki Thailand guys.
Absolutely. It looks like they've clicked together. Absolutely.
Yeah, I've spoken to a couple of them. They really like him.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's a really nice guy. He's Brian Starring. Let's just have a look at that how close they are and how close he was to coming off. Oh yeah, you can just see there the front wheel just went down. That was, it could have gone anyway right there as we head on to the last lap now. And look at Yuki Ito in the background there. Brian Starring gets out of shape as they head into the last lap too. That's given Brock a little bit of a buffer there, but he won't know about that. All Brock will be thinking about now is that the front wheel loss last time round. He won't want that to happen again, but he cannot back off with Brian Starring on the Kawasaki right behind him.
It looks like Brian's not going to leave anything behind.
Absolutely not. He's had a perfect weekend so far. He closes up. This is where Brock had that moment a lap ago. Manages to get through there cleanly this time. And Starring closes right back up onto the back wheel now. And he takes a dive up the inside, but he can't do it because Brock is fast through this section of the track. It's so one line through there as well. It's going to be difficult to do it there. There are a couple of opportunities though. Oh, another front end loose for Brock there. He is absolutely on the limit. So lucky to get away with that. The front folded. Gee, he is pushing all his luck here. He's got only a couple of kilometres to go, but he's already had, he's having one big moment every lap at them. Let's hope that's the last one for his sake.
It's fantastic riding by these two, I have to say.
Well, Starring, he's got an opportunity up the inside there, but Brock is so late on the brakes. Starring a little bit wide, Brock perfectly on line. Brock, I'll tell you now, Parksy is very, very good on the brakes. He's got a big enough gap now if he can pull that margin a bit bigger, and he does. If he can hold it at that, I reckon this is Brock Parks' race. He's really pushing the front once again as he dives into that last corner. He's got enough of a gap. Starring doing everything he can, but I reckon that Brock Parks pushes through there. You're going to see a black mark now. Brock got the bike up, he's down, and it's Brock Parks coming over the line. Brock Parks on the Yamaha gets his first win of the year with the Kawasaki of Brian Starring finishing in second. Boy, they had a great race, and Zach Enzidi comes over the line with fourth. Yuki Ito